This is Masechet Brachot, Daf Samach Amud Bet in the 9th parak, which is dealing with various brachot, and we'll begin with kinafik, when the person comes out of the bathroom. Omer, he says, Baruch, the bracha asher yatzar adam b'chachma, that God is blessed in that He created man with wisdom. Ubaravo nekavim, and created in man cavities, pores, nekavim are pores, chalalim, and cavities. It is revealed and known before your throne. That if one of the cavities would be ruptured, or if one of the pores would be closed, I would be unable to stand before you, and the Gra adds, afilu sha'achat. My chatzim, how does the bracha conclude? Amar, he says, Amar Rav says, Rofeich cholim. Blessed is God who heals, who cures the sick. Amar Shmuel argues, Kashavinu Abba, you have considered, L'chule Alma, to everyone in the world, Katsire, as sick individuals. Ella Rofei Kol Basar, rather you should say Rofei, God cures, Kol Basar, all flesh. In other words, you can't call every person who goes to the bathroom a chole, so why would the bracha conclude Rofei Cholim? Rather it's Rofei Kol Basar, God preventative, God makes healthy everyone. Shmuel refers to Rav as Abba, either because Abba was Rav's actual name, and Rav was just a title, or because he had a relationship and Rav was older, and he called him father. The Gemara continues, Rav Sheshet Amar Maflila Asot. Rav Sheshet said to conclude the bracha with Maflila Asot, that God creates wonders. Amar Rav Papa says, Hilkach, therefore, since we have both of these fine suggestions for conclusions, Nimrinhu L'Tarvaya, we will say both of them, Rofei Kol Basar Umaflila Asot. God heals all flesh and does wonders. Hanichnas lishon al mitato. When a person goes into his bedroom to go to sleep on his bed, Omer, he says, Mishma Yisrael ad vayayim shemoa. He says the psukim of Shema and vayayim shemoa. The Omer, and then he says, Baruch, the bracha of Hamapil Chavlei Sheina. God casts the bonds of sleep al einai, on my eyes, utnuma al afapai, and slumber on my eyes, umeir liishon bat ayin, and illuminates the pupils of my eye. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Hashem Elokai, may it be God's will, shetashkivenu l'shalom, that you should make me sleep in peace, v'sein chalkim Tortecha, and give me a portion of your Torah. V'targileni l'idei mitzvah, and you should make me accustomed to doing mitzvot. V'al targileni l'idei avera, and he should not make me accustomed to sin. V'al tivieni, and don't bring me l'idei chet, to the hands, the clutches of sin. V'lo l'idei avon, v'lo l'idei nisayon, v'lo l'idei vizayon, not to the hands of sin or tests or embarrassment. V'yishlot bi yetzer hara, and the yetzer atov, and the yetzer atov should rule over me. V'al yishlot bi yetzer hara, and the evil inclination should not rule over me. V'tatileni mi pegara, and you should save me from a negative encounter. U'mechalayim ra'im, or to bad diseases. V'al yivhaluni chalamot ra'im, v'hirhurim ra'im. I should not be confounded by bad dreams, or hirurim ra'im, or bad thoughts. V'tehei mitatish le'imah lefanecha, my bed should be complete before you. V'ha'er einai pen yishan hamavet, and you should illuminate my eyes, lest I would, God forbid, die in my sleep. Baruch atah Hashem hameir li'olam kulo b'chvodo. Blessed is God who gives light to the world in His honor. The bracha essentially is asking for God's help in our pursuit of spiritual growth and preventing us from being tempted by evil, and also giving us health and life. Ki mitzar, when we wake up, Omer Elokai neshama God, my soul, shenatata be that you've given me. Torahi, that you've given me once again this morning, is pure. Ata yitzarta be, you've created it in me. Ata nefachta be, you've breathed it into me. V'ata mishamar b'kibir, and you guard it inside of me. V'ata, and you, atilit lam mene, will ultimately take my neshama out of my body. Ulachzira bilati lavo, but in the world to come will return my neshama to me. Kol zman sheneshama b'kirbi, all the time that my soul is in me. Modeh ani lefanecha Hashem Elokai v'Elokei Avatai, I will be thankful to you, my God. Ribon kol olamim, master of all worlds. Adon kol hashamot, master of all souls. Baruch atah Hashem hamachzir neshamot lefagarim meitim. Blessed is God who restores the souls to the dead. Further, continuing in the day, Ki shama kol tarnagola, when we hear the sound of the rooster, Lema, the person should say, Baruch asher natan l'sachvivina, blessed is God who gave the mind understanding, Lavchin ben yom v'leila, to see the difference between day and light. Ki patach einei, when a person opens his eyes in the morning, Lema, you should say, Baruch pokech evrim, blessed is God who gives vision to those who are blind. Ki taritz v'yativ, when he stands up and sits up for the first time, Lema, he should say, Baruch matir asurim, blessed is God who releases the chains that could potentially hold a person back. Ki lavish, when he gets stressed, Lema, Baruch malbish aramim, blessed is God who provides clothing for the naked. Ki zakif, when he stands, Lema, Baruch zokef kufim, blessed is God who straightens the bent over. Ki nachit la'ara, when a person puts his feet on the ground, Lema Baruch Rokah Aretz Alamayim, blessed is God who has spread earth on the water. That the world could have been all water, but there's earth, dry land. Ki Maske, when he starts walking away from the bed, Lema, you should say Baruch HaMechin Mitzadei Gaver, blessed is God who firms man's footsteps. Ki Sayim Misane, when he puts on his shoes, Lema Baruch Sha'asali Kol Tzorki, blessed is God who has provided all of my needs for me. Ki Asar Hamayna, when he fastens his belt, Lema, he should say, Baruch Ozer Yisrael B'Gvura, blessed is God who girds Israel with strength. Ki Paris Sudra Al-Veishem, when he puts his cloth on his head, Lema, he should say, Baruch Ater Yisrael B'Tifara, blessed is God who crowns Israel with glory. Ki Ma'atef B'Tzitzit, when he wears his tzitzit, Lema Baruch Asher Kedushanam V'Sav V'Tzivanu L'Tatef B'Tzitzit. Here we're switching from the brachot of praise of God to brachot on mitzvot. When he puts on his tzitzit, he says a bracha, L'Tatef Asher Kedushanam V'Tzitzit, that God has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to wear tzitzit. Ki Manach Tefillin Adara'eh, when he puts on the tefillin on his arm, Lema, he should say, Baruch Asher Kedushanam B'Mitzvotav V'Tzivanu L'Aniach Tefillin, blessed is God who has commanded us to wear the tefillin. Areshe, when he puts it on his head, Lema, he should say, Baruch Asher Kedushanam B'Mitzvotav V'Tzivanu Al Mitzvah Tefillin, blessed is God who has commanded us to wear tefillin. Ki Masha Yadeh, when he washes his hands, Lema, he should say, Baruch Asher Kedushanam B'Mitzvotav V'Tzivanu Al Netilat Yadayim, the bracha of Al Netilat Yadayim. Ki Masha Ape, when he washes his face, Lema, he should say, Baruch HaMavir Chevle Sheina Me'enai Utnuma Me'afapayim. He should say the bracha, and this is back to the bracha of praise, God has removed the bonds of sleep from my eyes and has awakened me. And this bracha continues, and may be God's will. That he should make me accustomed to following the Torah. And connect me to the mitzvot. And don't bring me. Not to the hands of sin. Not to the hands of sin or of shame. And please compel my desires to be serving God. And distance me from a bad person, or a bad friend, and let me follow and connect myself to my positive influence, and to a good friend, in your world. And give me to me today, and for every day, to kindness and mercy in your eyes, and in the eyes of all people who see me and interact with me. And give me good kindnesses. Baruch atah Hashem, blessed is God, Gomer chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael, who gives chesed to his nation Israel. That is the end of the series of brachot that is said each day. The Gemara continues with an analysis of a different part of the Mishnah. Chayav adam levarech v'chulei. A person is obligated to bless for the bad like it's the good. My chayav levarech al ra kashem shema levarech al tova. What does the Mishnah mean? That you have to bless God for the bad in the same way as we bless God for the good. Ilema kashem shema levarech al tova atova meitiv. If you'll suggest mistakenly that it means that just like we make a bracha for good by saying Baruch atah Hashem atov ha'meitiv, kach mavarach al ra atov ha'meitiv, we make atov ha'meitiv for the bad as well. But didn't we learn in the Mishnah? Al basuro tovot omer hatov ha'meitiv. In our Mishnah it says for good news hatov ha'meitiv. Al basurot raot omer baruch dayan ha'emet. For bad news we have a different bracha that God is the true judge. Amar Rava lo nitzrucha Rava says that no, this teaching means that we must accept it with simcha, with not that we should be happy about bad news, but we should have complete satisfaction that God has done it and it is correct. Amar of Acha Mishum Rabbi Levi Mikra. What's the pasuk that tells us that we should make a bracha for bad in the same way as we make a bracha for good? And there's a series of sources. We'll see Rabbi Tanachum's source is this. Kos Yeshuot Esa, Ubeshem Hashem Akra, I will hold up the cup of salvation and call out God's name. And then the next pasuk, Tzara v'yagon emtza, hardship and sadness I will find. Ubeshem Hashem Akra, I will call out to God, connecting the calling out to God for good and for bad. For Rabbanon Army Mehachal Chachamim have a different source. Hashem Natan, Hashem Lakach. God gives and God takes. Yehi Shem Hashem Evarach, God's name should be blessed, whether it's for giving goodness or taking from us. Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav Mishum Rabbi Meir. V'chein Tanam Mishmei Rabbi Kiva. This teaching was taught from Rabbi Kiva. Li'olam yei Adam Ragil Lomar called the Avar Rahman al Tavav. A person should be always get into the habit of saying that all that which God does is for the good. Kihad Rabbi Kiva, and the story happened to Rabbi Kiva. He was traveling. Mata lahi mata, he came to a certain city. Bo ushpiza, he was trying to find a house to sleep over. Lo yavile, no one gave him a place to lodge. Amar, Rabbi Kiva said, Kol davar Rahman al tav, it must be for the best. Azal ubat dabra, he slept on the streets in the fields. Vahavi ba'adei tarnagola, and he had 3 possessions: a rooster, v'chamra, a donkey, v'shraga, a candle. Ata zeka kabula shraga. The wind came and blew out his lantern. Ata shunra achla latarnagola. A cat came and ate the rooster. Ata aryeh, a lion came, achle lachamra, and ate the donkey. Amar, he says, Kol davar Rahman al tav. So he said that even though everything that I have was taken, it must be for the best. On that same night, Ata Gaisa, an army came, Shavi Lamata, and captured the city and took them captive. Amalu Rabbi Kiva says, Lav Ami Lechu, didn't I tell you? Kol Masha Osa Kadosh Baruch Hu, all that God does, that He did to me and harmed me, Hakol Latova, it was all for the best. If not for the fact that my light and my animals were taken, I might have been caught as well. All these negative things that happened were really all for the best.